Hello my friends, my name is Forge, and welcome to another video. So today we have a brand new snapshot, which is 1.20w44a. And this week we got new game rules, changes to the chiseled bookshelf, and brand new changes to spawn eggs. And as always, the chainsaw will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing as it helps out quite a bit and shows your support for the channel. Thank you. And as always, when you're creating up a brand new world, you need to go down to data packs and enable bundle and update 1.20. Click on done. It's going to give you this warning. Just click proceed. And once you click create new world, it's going to give you another warning. Just click yes. And once you're in the world, you get access to everything new. So this week, there hasn't been any new mobs introduced, but they did introduce some new spawn eggs. We now have a snow golem spawn egg, an iron golem spawn egg, an ender dragon spawn egg, and a wither spawn egg. So originally, these four mobs, they never had a spawn egg, which definitely made things difficult for when you wanted multiple of these mobs. Like take the iron golem, snow golem, or wither bots for examples. These were mobs that you had to craft, you wanted multiple of them, or you just had to use a summon command. But now you just have a spawn egg, which is going to make things a lot easier. For the ender dragon's case, you can either use a command to get it, or you can go to the end and spawn in multiple of them by using the end crystals. But yet again, we now spawn eggs, which is going to make things a lot easier to get these. And apparently I caused the battle. But however, if you want to get the ender dragon or wither spawn eggs, you cannot find it in spawn egg section. You can only find the iron golem and snow golem spawn eggs within the spawn eggs. Next up, let's go over a chiseled bookshelf change. So this is going to be a change that many redstoners are going to love. Because now, if I place a hopper and I chuck a book inside, it's going to go into the bookshelf. That is going to be so useful. I mean, I'm sure that there's a use for this, but as far as that goes, yeah. That's basically the whole change. It's just something to keep redstoners happy. They introduced some new stuff in the redstone tab. So if I scroll to the very bottom, we now have access to command blocks, the jigsaw block, the structure void, barriers, light blocks, and the debug stick. Finally! I'm so happy they did this. Because for a long time, we always had to put up commands. We always had to do a /give command if you wanted a debug stick or a certain command block. But we no longer have to do that because we can just go to the redstone tab and grab one of these blocks and just use it in our builds. Especially getting command blocks, that's going to make things a lot easier. And hopefully Bedrock will get these changes. But they also did a few new reorderings, so if you want to read about the reorderings, go ahead and check the description, where you will find a link to the changelog. So within this week's snapshot, we got a few new game rules. First up is mob explosion drop DK. By default, it's going to be set to true. So let's say I have this creeper, and I explode this creeper. By default, we don't get every block back. Most of the blocks get destroyed in the process. So as you can see, we got 13 sand. But however, if I were to set to false, and I repeat the same thing, then we'll get every single one of those blocks back. So let's see how many did we get. So we got a stack in 5. Then we have block explosion drop DK, which is similar to the previous one, but it's going to be for blocks. By default, it's going to be set to true. This is mostly going to be including things like beds or respawn anchors. If I were to explode these 2 blocks, then usually we don't get every block back. It's just like with the creeper explosion. But then if I were to set this to false, then we'll get every single one of those blocks back. We won't lose any of them, which is definitely quite useful for dimensions. And finally, we have one for TNT, but by default, it's going to be set to false. And that's because if you got TNT and you were to explode it, we'll always get every one of those blocks back. It's not like block or mob explosions. But obviously, by setting this to true, then you will not get all those blocks back. You will always lose some. This was actually how TNT used to behave before they made a change a few updates back. This is what we call an infinite water source, where you have water information like this. If you have an infinite water source, then you can keep getting water out of it, and it's definitely useful. But however, lava does not do the same thing. I always thought to myself that lava needed to be more like water, where we can get infinite amounts of it, because it's definitely frustrating that when you got lava like this, and you take lava out, then it doesn't refill again. We have a game rule just for this. We have one for water. Our first one is water source conversion, and by default, it's going to be set to true. By saying this to false, then we cannot make infinite water sources. It will be just like lava. This can be useful for a challenge map. We also have lava source conversion. Then we have lava source conversion. By default, it's going to be set to false. But if I were to set this to true, we can now make infinite lava sources. No more of looking for lava. Instead, you can make an infinite lava source. Our final command takes us to the snowy plains and the snow accumulation height. Now usually when it's snowing in your world, the snow can build up a little bit. On Java Edition, it only goes up by 1. But on Bedrock Edition over time, the snow can go higher, up to about a full block. So eventually you can get something like this. And now this feature is also on Java Edition. But however, it's locked behind that command. By default, it's going to be set to 1. But if you want to go higher when snowing, then you can change this anywhere between 0 to 8. 8 being the maximum. And now it can go up to a full block. And as you can see, the snow is now rising up until it gets to a full block. But if you don't want it to rise at all, then you can put this to 0, then none of the snow is going to accumulate. But that's going to be it for everything in this week's snapshot. Down below in the comments, go and let me know what you think of everything. But go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye.